Welcome back to Blue Eyes Creations. I was really stuck for a video for this week. I had several projects for my design courses I had to make, so I considered showing you guys how to do something like that, but that's a really complicated process. Anyway, this is gonna be a DIY project. I'm gonna be making my own stencil. Well, sort of my own. It's a stencil I'm gonna make for the Pittsburgh County 4-H shooting sports program. They've made stands for their air rifle competitions to hold up their targets, and they asked for a stencil they can use so they can spray paint the name of the county onto the stand. So here is what you're gonna need. First of all, you're gonna need the right kind of space. Now, I know I'm not in my whole, we're doing this video from the kitchen because that's where you're gonna be doing your crafts. I know that. Truth is, my kitchen table's not big enough for this, so I had to come to somewhere a little bigger. You might check around your community if you're gonna do a big project like this and you don't have the space. Check around your community and see if there are places that you would be able to do this. If you have friends, maybe. I always keep in touch with friends that have spaces where I can do stuff like this. First, what you will need is stencil plastic. I got this at Hobby Lobby. I'm pretty sure that you can probably get it online. You can get it probably at most any craft store, really. You can probably get it at places like Lowe's, hardware type stores. But I got it for like $2 at Hobby Lobby. And it gives you 3 sheets, and it comes in different sizes. So if this is not your ideal size, which this is gonna be 6 inches by 18 inches. This is gonna be a pretty big stencil. You can choose your sizes, and this I can cut it shorter if I need it. You will need a design. Now, I had to print mine off onto separate sheets of paper because it's so long, but together it's something like that. Personally, myself, I'm doing this for a client, so I have to adhere to certain rules, such as like logo use. I have to use a certain font so that it's legible and it's easy to use. When it comes to you personally doing your stencil, you can do whatever you want. This is gonna be a creative space if you decide to do your own. You're gonna want tape. Some kind of tape to hold your stencil that you've copied onto paper onto your plastic. I'm gonna use masking tape simply because that way it'll come off easily. You're also gonna need something to cut with. If you have a really good X-Acto knife, I would, you can use that, it's perfectly fine. Last but not least, you're gonna need a mat to cut on. In some instances, the mat's not as necessary. I would say in this instance it is. You don't want to cut through to your table or whatever surface you might be working on, because then if you have to work with something else there later, you're gonna have cuts and grooves into your surface, and it's gonna make it hard to do anything other than make more cuts and grooves into your surface. So, let's get started. Okay, so I didn't finish the stencil yet. This is gonna be a project you're gonna have to practice on before you get it perfect the first time around. But I did get a little bit done, so I'm just gonna show you what I got. I got this far. What you're gonna have to remember to do is you're gonna have to work slow, because cutting this stuff, even though it's super thin, really fine thin, it's not the easiest thing in the world to cut, because you don't want to cut into the pieces of your stencil that are going to hold your letters in place or whatever else you're holding in place. And you also don't want to cut between pieces and end up having something that's going to like fall forward or try to fly back and forth if you're using like spray paint or something. So this is gonna be a DIY project you really have to practice on, you really have to play with it. I'm gonna go ahead and end filming for this before I finish it because this is actually about to drive me nuts and I'm gonna have to put it up for the night. And there's no way I can finish it before upload time this weekend. So, that being said, if you decide to make your own stencil, I want to see what you make. If you have ideas for other videos, put them in the comments below. If you liked this one, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you decide you want to see more of my videos, maybe get a few DIY tips and tricks here and there, crafting stuff, so go ahead and click right there to subscribe to the channel. So, that was this week's video. I hope you kind of enjoyed it since we had some craziness. I had to fix the font. I actually messed up one of the stencils. I had to start all over. I don't know how long it actually took me to get those 4 pitiful little letters done. But I do imagine that it'll be something that in the future, if I do it enough, it would be faster and easier to do. Next week, I actually have a bit of a jewelry video essentially, but I have a surprise I'm gonna make. It's a surprise for you. I will give you the details closer to filming. So, until next week's video, keep creating.